It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning. Well, my throat gave out on me before I even started today. Sorry about that. Let's start over. Good morning. Welcome to Friday Travel and Cruise Industry News. How's that? That's a little better. On this, the 7th day of April, 2023, coming to you from Central Virginia area, Bedford County. I was hoping to have a guest today, but she never confirmed that, so I might have jumped the gun on Kristy again. So I'll get with her maybe later on today, and we will work out the possibility of taping the interview that I want to do with her. But anyway, so and she could still pop in, which is a possibility too. But anyway, that was what was planned for today. I do have a couple of announcements. The main one is that Mr. Bucket List and I will be doing a live stream tonight at 7 o'clock. In the top of the chat room is the link for our live stream show tonight on YouTube. It's also going to be broadcast on Facebook and Twitter and all over the place. But that's the main link, is the YouTube channel. He and I are going to be talking about our upcoming Norwegian Joy solo cruise that we are hosting on May the 1st, our plans for that cruise. And so we've invited not only the folks that are booked on it to join us for, I'm calling it a meet and greet, but for any of you in the solo community that are interested in hosted solo cruises, maybe not specifically on this one, but in the future. And so we're going to talk about that. And I don't mind telling you folks, and I realize that this is a tease because I can't talk about it yet. I am keeping a week in early December clear on my schedule. So that's what's upcoming tonight at 7 o'clock. So please, whether you're on this cruise or not, join us. It'll be fun, and we'll talk about what Justin and I are planning on doing. So it's exciting times. It's exciting times for Justin and I both right now. It really is. So we do have a couple news stories today. A leadership change at Celebrity Cruises. You know, yesterday we talked about the Costa Cruises change up top. And that wasn't necessarily a positive change. That was a negative change, possibly, and one that creates lots of questions about the future of Costa Cruises. To me, this leadership change is totally different than yesterday's. So we're going to talk about the leadership change at Celebrity this morning. Disney has jumped into the mix with Princess and some other folks as far as introducing wearable devices on their cruise ships. Talk about that a bit. A news story that broke this morning that's sometimes I don't understand the people in this space. It's about Starlink being tested on Norwegian. Well, they make the articles, makes it sound like this is something new. You know, Norwegian all of a sudden is testing Starlink. Well, no. The test on Starlink started several months ago. When I was on the breakaway, it had Starlink. And it performed remarkably well, despite the fact that there were, what was it? I don't know, a couple thousand of us live streaming constantly. That was the vloggers cruise. And it's still on breakaway. I mean, that's what they use. So this isn't anything new. Well, we're going to talk about that a little bit further too. And Norwegian, I think now is starting to schedule other ships with it. So that part of it is, yes, of course, news. And finally, this morning, we're going to talk about Schiff Herz Final Sailing for the folks over on the other side of the pond. That and a lot more live here at 11 o'clock today. Today, folks, is National Beer Day. It is not my normal beverage of choice, adult beverage of choice. However, I have nothing against drinking a beer every now and then. So I may just have to break away from my normality and have a beer with dinner tonight. And we have beer in the house all the time. I just never drink one. My sister and brother-in-law split a beer almost every night at dinner. So I might just steal one of their beers tonight to celebrate National Beer Day. What's Amanda cooking tonight? I don't remember what she's cooking tonight. I'm sure she said, but I don't pay a whole lot of attention to what's going on with the menu. If you're listening via the podcast, welcome aboard. As always, you can access the podcast daily on my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcasts from. All the big hitters, Podchaser, Stitcher, Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. Just search for travel and cruise industry news. And up pops the fat travel guy. If you're listening via the podcast and want to hop over to the video feed to check out pictures or clips that we may use on that day's show, there's always a link in the description so you can do just that. We do have one little item this morning. We have two little items this morning, as I am going to have a guest. That's cool. But before I do that, that would be Amigo John up there in Crookston, Minnesota, with his new boss. That will be the new matriarch of the Reitmeyer clan up there in Crookston, and she will be out on the tractor planting sugar beets as soon as all that damn snow melts. All right, with no further ado, folks. You guys all know Kristy. She's owner-operator of Incredible Memories Travel. She's a disability advocate. She recently was on a group that did some work checking out accessibility in Portugal. We're going to talk about that this morning. Last week, she was keynote speaker at National Tour Association. So with no further ado, here's my pal, Kristy Durso. Kristy, welcome back to Chillie Chats.
Thank you so much for having me and for being patient with me too. It's always good to talk with you.
Well, yeah. And of course, I would never think about putting you on the spot since you dumped me unceremoniously a couple days ago. Kristy hurt her back, took some drugs, which I do on the same thing, and she happened to sleep through the show. So we're not going to give her too much hell about that one. However, I would never think about putting a guest on the spot. So I'm going to put you on the spot this morning. Last week, you were the keynote speaker at the National Tour Association.
Yes.
I know you don't like to do this, but I want you to share with my audience what you shared with me, number one, about that talk and the reaction you had to it on a personal level.
Well, thank you, Chillie. Getting to talk to them, it was just so exciting to be speaking to a group that wasn't related to disabilities. I do a lot of work with people who have disabilities, but the getting to do a talk to the National Tour Association, a group that in general they don't talk about accessibility needs, was just really, really exciting for me. It felt like a huge win for accessible travel this year. So I got to speak for a full hour, and when I finished the video and finished everything, all the things to it, there were lots of teary eyes, and I got a standing ovation from this
Nice.
crowd. It was I was shocked. I was not expecting that at all. So it was really, really neat. And I heard people say that they would think about accessibility different. My talk was titled Reframing Accessibility.
Mhm.
I wanted to help them look at it differently. That was my goal. I thought if I can at least get one tour operator to look at it differently, um, that's good. We
Oh,
one at
yeah.
a time. That's okay.
Yeah.
But instead, I had almost the entire room. Well, the entire room did stand up for me, and many of them came up to me and had comments about how my talk impacted them. And one woman went so far as to post on LinkedIn just the most beautiful, just some really beautiful praise and comments, saying that I had changed the way she looked at accessibility. She had a hotel room for the next night at a different hotel, and she said she went into it looking for the things that I had spoken about in my talk. So it's pretty exciting to feel like we we're changing people. We
Yes,
really are.
we're changing the world a little bit at a time. Well, obviously, I am so proud of you for being in that situation for all of us in our community. But yeah, I just wanted you to share it because it was heartwarming to me when you and I talked about it last week right after the event.
Yeah.
All right,
Well, thank
you
you.
also were on one of the things that I was really jealous about. You got to go to Portugal and look at accessibility over there. Of course, you traveled with a number of people that I know and know quite well as well. But tell us about Portugal.
Oh my gosh. It was absolutely amazing. Beautiful, beautiful country. And the people are insanely friendly. We just had an amazing time. And for anyone who has any sort of disability, we're going to make sure that you are using Tourism for All in Portugal if you head to either Portugal or Spain. They just did a beautiful job. Does that mean everything was perfect? No, of course not. We have not achieved perfect accessibility anywhere, and it's something that's going to take a long time, but they are doing much better than pretty much anyone else. Um, they think of all the things. And what's neat about this company is it was actually started by a guy who worked in accessibility, working to care for people who had disabilities. And even now, he still does that. That's his nonprofit. He has two homes side by side. One of them is for people who have a cognitive or intellectual disability, and the other is for people who have a mobility disability. So this man who founded Tourism for All really knows his stuff. He works with people with disabilities all day long. So to have him as the founder of Tourism for All, I think really was so wise. Just amazing, amazing opportunity to really get in there with the understanding of what we need. And it showed in the planning of the trip. From the first hotel to the last, we were in places that were very accommodating. Um, Again, not perfect accessibility, but well above average, very usable. So, as far as the accessibility of it goes, it was phenomenal. And then to actually go in to the castles, and to all the to see all the historical sites was amazing. And I'm going to jump back onto accessibility again here. One thing I really in particular loved was when we went to the King's Palace. The entrance had about, I don't know, maybe 10 steps. And but it was gorgeous. Red carpet, everything lovely. They had a lift right there for us. Instead of us making a side entrance and having to use the entrance by the janitor's closet,
Yeah.
we got to go up that red carpet. Every
Sweet.
one of us. It was really special to me because I've
Yeah.
posted about the difference of the entrances to before, and
Oh,
it
yeah.
matters. One makes you feel welcome. The other makes you feel like, oh, they're saying, "Oh, all right, we'll let you in. Just don't talk to anyone."
Yeah. Yeah. Don't embarrass us. Don't embarrass us. You can use the janitor's closet. To hell with coming in the front door. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, exactly,
So,
exactly. So that was really cool to get to come up the front stairs. So loved everything we saw. One thing I wasn't sure I was going to like. In fact, when I talked to my husband about it, I was a little bit maybe complaining beforehand that it was not a very adventurous trip because I like adventure.
uh,
But he said, go and enjoy it and just have fun with everybody else who's there. So that's kind of how I went. But going to the tile museum, I really thought that was going to be boring. It sounds, you want to go visit a tile museum? Okay. But it was amazing. And it's definitely something I'll put in anybody's itinerary going to Lisbon. Um, it's not just plain tiles, it's not different colored tiles. They tell stories with the tiles. One of the displays was the entire coastline of Lisbon. That display had been there had been a flood and destroyed everything, but somehow this display of the tile display stayed intact, and they were able to put
survived.
it in the museum, which means, and that was actually also the only recorded line of what that coastline had looked like at that time. So really, really neat history. And then it was connected to this gorgeous church and nunnery, and it was just really amazing. And then we got to paint our own, which was a lot of fun too. So definitely an
All right.
amazing.
I have not officially made any announcements on what I'm seeing coming up in my life. I have talked to Kristy about this. Actually, last week we started talking, but I'm at the point in my life where I think I'm going to be transitioning very soon from a scooter to a power chair, which I'm hoping, I don't know yet till I get my fat butt in one and check it out, which is next week, that I'll be able to start doing some excursions and doing some things on all these cruises that I haven't been able to do because nobody has accessible transportation for scooters. They're too heavy to put, you know, underneath buses and in trunks of cars and things. And a chair, the lightweight ones that fold up, that's something that I can handle myself. So surely an Uber driver can, or a bus driver that's putting luggage underneath, because you're talking the same thing as a suitcase. What's your thoughts on chairs versus scooters? You've used both.
Yes, I have. I personally prefer to use a chair over the scooter. And my family went to Disney World and Universal all the time when we lived in Florida. It was kind of our escape when things were really tough. We'd go down there for a few days, and when Ryan comes home from deployment, we go there. So I've been to Disney in every stage of my mobility. Good mobility, where I didn't need any accommodations on that day. Mid-range mobility, where I needed a scooter in order to not have too many issues, and then finally as a wheelchair user. Um, there's a big difference between being a power chair user and a scooter user, especially at a place like Disney and Universal. The theme parks tend to get a lot of scooters. There's definitely a difference in the way that you're treated. The wheelchair automatically makes you credible. It makes you valid. And most people, they're not going to assume that you're just lazy and overweight. They're going to assume that you have a disability that puts you in a wheelchair. Whereas when you use a power chair, or a scooter, it's not the same. People look at you and they're constantly judging. They're like, why are you using the scooter? I'm not using the scooter. I'm walking. Get off your butt, you lazy person. That's really,
That's the
I've
attitude
seen
you get.
posts about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of negativity with the scooters. And I think even on the cruises, it's kind of the same too. So that's really the reason I usually recommend a chair over a scooter.
Well, of course, Scoot-Around has been marvelously good to me for almost 9 years now.
Yeah.
I'm used to a scooter especially since, and this is again mostly your fault, and pushing me into doing these accessibility studies on cruise ships. By the way, I just posted one on the Zandam, which was, I mean, yeah, there are a few things that they need to fix, but overall was a pretty good, the accessibility report was pretty good. And that's a lot because of your work with Holland America. I'm well aware of that. But Scoot-Around that's Will Power Chairs is, of course, the owner of Scoot-Around.
Right.
They have the F model, which is a foldable chair.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also looking at another company that the seat is just a little bit wider than the F model for Will. It's also rated for a little heavier weight. And although I'm at the lowest weight, by the way, Kristy, I'm at the lowest weight I've been in 26 years.
Wow, congratulations.
Yesterday morning. So I'm still a big fat guy, yes, but I'm not as fat as I was. So, but anyway, I'm balancing the two things, and I'm going to talk to our friend Monday, as a matter of fact, from the ambassador for Will, who's obviously close with me since I'm an ambassador for Scoot-Around. But yeah, I'm hoping to make a move next week, and if things work out right, my next cruise, which is May the 1st, which is a hosted solo cruise as well, that I may just be able to do some excursions that I hadn't counted on doing because I can't ever do them on a scooter.
Where are you going in May? What are your stops?
It goes to Cartagena in Colombia. It goes to Aruba. It goes to Curacao. And it goes to Puerto Plata in the Dominican Republic.
Nice.
Cartagena, I was just there on the Zandam, but that was the cruise without a phone. So I couldn't film anything.
Oops.
So I will have a phone back in Cartagena, and whether I do anything more than just going in and playing with the peacocks and the parrots and the monkeys and the one sloth, which is what I did last time, and had no proof of it, I'd be happy to do just that. But now might have the possibility that I could actually get into Old Town there as well. Aruba and Curacao are two of my very favorite places I've been to, but I have not been to either in a very long time. Puerto Plata, I think I was there twice last year. So, that's nothing great. The interesting thing about it, though, is, we're doing some hosted solo cruises, which is kind of a pretty new concept here in the States. So, Anyway. Well, Kristy, you did exactly what I needed you to do today. Bring me up to date on Portugal and let my audience know a little bit about the Tour Association. What's up for you next? What's ahead with you now?
Well, I've got a few things. Next week on the 16th, I'm doing Virgin Voyages. Really looking forward to checking their accessibility. I've heard lots of good things, so hopefully it's as amazing as I've heard. And then I'm going to Orlando, where I get to spend a couple days with my daughter. And then I will be doing a training for another travel agency that has asked me to come in and talk about accessibility. And then right from there, I'll fly to Colorado, hopefully to speak at their conference. So really fun.
Awesome.
Lots to do.
Busy schedule ahead for Kristy. Well, I certainly do appreciate you taking the time to spend some time with the old fat guy again.
I always enjoy it.
And I will definitely be following you. I'm looking forward to your thoughts on Virgin Voyages as well, because I have not been on Virgin Voyages yet. So,
yeah, definitely.
All right, Kristy, as always, love you. Thank you so much. And we'll get together again real soon.
Sounds great. Love you too. Fun show. I appreciate being here, and thank you to everyone for letting me tell you about my adventures.
All right, Kristy, have a terrific day. We'll see you soon. Of course, that's Kristy Durso. She's one of my favorite people in the world and somebody that's been a major influencer in my life I think I probably started following Kristy 4 or 5 years ago. So, I mean, even before I met her, it's been just a wonderful, wonderful relationship. And I just love her to death. All right. So, what am I going to do here? I just got to get to some news. But first, a word from Scoot Around.
Do you have a bad back, bad hips, bad knees, or any other mobility issues? Think about Scoot Around. For scooters, walkers, wheelchairs, even oxygen needs, delivered right to your cabin. Scoot Around for all your mobility needs on your upcoming cruise.
Hi, that's Scoot Around. No matter what, they've always been a major player in my life and will continue to be, no matter what I do in the way of moving toward a chair. But we're going to be talking with Sylvia next week about Will's chair as well, and see which direction that I need to go. But anyway, Scoot Around, just terrific people. If you've got mobility challenges, folks, of any type, call them. Sit down and talk to them about what you might need or what you might want so you can enjoy travel and cruising and hotel stays a whole lot more than you are if you're suffering with mobility challenges. All right, I'll be back with the news after a quick break from one of our network sponsors. And the lead story this morning, folks, is from our friends over at Celebrity. And like I mentioned earlier, this is so totally different from the story yesterday. We talked about the leadership change at Top Costa and lots of negativity and unanswered questions that caused. The leadership change at Celebrity is totally different. Current CEO Lisa Luteff-Perlo has served as president and CEO of Celebrity since 2014, overseeing the launch of 3 Edge-class ships, 2 expedition vessels, and a major fleet-wide revitalization project. She will become the group's corporate vice chair of external affairs effective May the 1st. Widely considered a trailblazer in the cruise industry, Luteff-Perlo was the first cruise executive to name a female captain of a cruise ship when she appointed Captain Kate McHugh to the Celebrity Edge all the way back in 2015. At the same time, Laurel Hodge Bethage, currently Celebrity's executive vice president, shared services operations, will be named president of the line. Hodges Bethage joined the company 23 years ago and has held senior positions in product development, hotel and marine operations, sales, marketing, product innovation, marketing development, and investor relations. She played leadership roles in conceptualizing new ships and private island destinations, including Royal Caribbean's Perfect Day at Coco Cay experience. The new Celebrity Cruises president will preside over the launch of the line's newest ship, the Celebrity Ascent, under construction in France and slated to launch later in 2023. All right, the next story on the agenda deals with Disney. We don't get to talk about Disney as much as I'd like, and people keep telling me I've got to go on a Disney cruise. You know, I've avoided that forever, and now I'm beginning to see that there's some reason for me to do a Disney cruise. But anyway, following in the footsteps of Princess Ocean Medallion, MSC's MSC for Me, and Royal Caribbean's WOW bands, Disney Cruise Line is jumping on board with the next-gen technology in the form of its wearable Disney band. Disney has been using the technology for wearables in its parks for almost 10 years now and is finally bringing the technology to its cruise ship. The cruise line will test wearable on select cruises on board Disney Wish in the coming weeks before the official launch later this year. The next story this morning, I probably spent a lot more time talking about this in the intro than actually the story itself. Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings is currently testing Starlink on Norwegian Breakaway. If trials are successful, Norwegian is targeting to equip 7 additional ships with Starlink by year end, including 3 of the exciting new additions: Oceania Cruises Vista, Norwegian Viva, and Regent Seven Seas Grandeur. Sorry, Norwegian, but that's a bit of horse hockey, as you already tested Starlink on Breakaway, and it's worked really well. So take credit and go, just roll. So you don't need to throw in a half-hearted news story just to keep your name in the headlines. Man, it worked tremendously on the Breakaway, so put it on the rest of your boats. Norwegian, I wish it was on Joy next week. Or the first, when I'm on Joy. And no, I'm not fussing at Norwegian about that. All the cruise lines do this crazy stuff with old stories just to keep their names in the headlines. give us fresh information or give us straight information. And all of you do. It's not just Disney. I mean, Carnival and Royal Caribbean, they all do the same thing. And it just drives me ding dong crazy. All right. For our friends on the other side of the pond, and this is actually the last story today. There wasn't a whole lot of news today. But set to be transferred to Marella Cruises, the Mein Schiff Herz is embarking on its final sailing for TUI. They actually sailed yesterday. After completing a winter schedule in the Canary Islands, the 1997 built, I didn't realize it was that old, 1997 built cruise ship is setting sail on a repositioning voyage to the Western Mediterranean, sailing from St. Cruz, Tenerife to Palma, Mallorca. The 10-night itinerary includes visits to 8 ports in Spain, Morocco, Portugal, and Gibraltar. Soon after ending that cruise, the ship sets sail for Cadiz, where it will be transformed into Marella Cruises, Marella Voyager. During a 42-day refit at Navantia shipyard, the 1,850-guest vessel will receive all the British company's traditional features, including the colorful livery, that's the paint job, and trademark venues. The Voyager will also be equipped with new bars and restaurants, including a secret speakeasy bar. We've heard about that before. And Abuelo's, a new Mexican eatery. Following the refurbishment, the Marella Voyagers is set to depart on its inaugural cruise for Marella on June the 3rd. That's not that far away. Offering the company's all-inclusive product, the ship is set to spend its inaugural season in the Western Med. So, congratulations for all the years of service on Mein Herz, that whatever. I'm not much with German. And good luck for Marella. Congratulations for Marella on their newest ship in their line, which is really cool. All right, let's hop over and see who's with us in the chat room today. Yo. Eddie was in the house early. I think he had some stuff to do. There's the link, of course, for tonight's live stream with Mr. Bucket List. Really exciting times for both Justin and I, because he's got a group cruise. I've got the Alaska cruise, which is totally separate from the Passion for Cruises USA hosted cruises we're doing. And even though I can't talk about it yet, I have a week in early December, which may involve another Norwegian ship. Hopefully we'll have all the details on that next week. Might be on the Encore, but I can't say yet. But we'll see. Hot Air Tom's with us. Gretchen's with us. Hi, Gretchen. Gretchen's up there tearing her house down. She's putting plastic in the kitchen. No, she's not. She's redoing her kitchen this week, so she's tearing the whole damn house down, and then she's going to leave and make somebody else fix it. Is that the way you do it, Gretchen? Hot Air Tom's with us. I got to move the phone over so I can read the chat. I use my phone now as the camera and microphone. I still use the headset so I can hear without background noise. Hot Air says, looks like Eddie flew the coop. Yeah, he had some stuff to do. Amy's with us. Hi, Amy. You should check NCL Joy for November 25th and December 6th. The prices have gone down. It's a good deal for a double Panama time this time with camera. Yeah. I will do the full transit again with camera. However, I can't talk about that week in December. Hot Air. I'm going to be talking about a Norwegian cruise that week, but it's not going to be the Joy. The Joy is going to be May the 1st. This is going to be another Norwegian ship. And it may start with an E, which means it may be Encore, Escape. Who knows? It's going to be Norwegian with an E. Let's go that far. But I can't say anything about that yet. So, anyway, that's going to be in early December, and we'll have news on that right after Easter. By the way, I didn't wish everybody, if those of you that celebrate Good Friday, wish you a happy Good Friday. Is not really the right terminology for what Good Friday stands for, but we are leading into Easter, which is considered a holiday. So happy Easter to all of you folks, especially those of you who are more on the Christian side of things than other. So it's a big weekend for a lot of you guys. So, and a lot of it starts for us today as well. Hot Air says, I will have an iced tea and call it a beer. Well, I'll actually have, I think I'll have a beer, Hot Air, which I don't do very often, but I will do on occasions. So, yeah, I'm gonna break down and have a beer with dinner tonight. What was it? There was a question on a crossword puzzle about, I can't think of the question now, but it made reference to the formal beverage of Southerners, and made it sound like you were looking for, pina coladas or, the Kentucky Derby drink or, something like that. And the answer was sweet tea, the official drink of Southerners. So that's what Hot Air Tom is having, sweet tea. How's the new air conditioning doing, Nikki? Oh, yeah, I haven't heard about Nikki's air conditioning. That's true. That's a good question, Hot Air. What kind of dog? Wait a minute, I missed something. Nikki says, greeting, your dog sitting, the grand dog for a few days. Okay, I missed that, Nick. Gretchen says, cute baby, so it must have been a picture that came up on that one. After it was installed, our son went upstairs and it was leaking like crazy. A guy came and turned it off and cleaned it up. Others are coming today to fix it. Ooh, Lord. That's not good, Nick. Gretchen, Itzy is a pit bull mix. So sweet. And she's a licker. Well, that's okay. I lick them back. I mean, that's what I do. One jumps up and licks me, I'll lick them back. No, I don't. But most people don't do that. But I mean, I love dogs. So I love dogs. I love cats, both. I'm weird. Chillie Cruises, laugh out loud. What have I been recommending to you for the past many months? We should have given you a test drive on Cindy's chair. Yeah, but I had to get over the emotional aspect of that kind of transition. And which hasn't been that bad of a transition for me because I'm so used to being on the scooter. but I'm so used to using the scooter for everything I do on a cruise ship. This is going to be like a whole new world to me. And yes, I could see some benefits on things that I can't do on a scooter that I'll now be able to do. That's one of the main things that I'm recognizing for this. And why I'm probably going to go, take some money out of my bank account and go get the daggone thing. Unfortunately, from what I've been able to gather, Medicare doesn't want anything to do with it. It seems like Medicare, even with the doctor's, prescription for one, Medicare is going to say, if you don't need it in the house, you don't need it. In other words, they'll take care of it if I needed something in my house. Well, I can get around my house without, the scooter or my walker even, although I have them here in case I need them. But I can get to the bathroom. I can get to the dining room. I can get to the kitchen or into the living room to sit with the family or out to the car. Medicare would be fine for that. But to have a life away from the house, they want nothing to do with it. So I get the same refusals from Medicare for a scooter, a wheelchair, power wheelchair, a new oxygen concentrator for the portable units. They'd be fine if I had problems with my unit here in the house. Unit here in the house has been perfect forever. But they don't want to talk about a portable unit that I use when I'm on cruises, and I use when I'm in the car, and I use when I have a life other than being disabled and feeling sorry for myself at home. Medicare needs to grow up and come into the new world. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to rant on that one. Katie's with us. Hi, Katie. Gretchen says, sound like fun. I want to go to Aruba. Fred wants to go to St. Lucia. St. Lucia is a lovely island. I love those two mountains in St. Lucia. But our next cruise is Oktoberfest, not quite tropical beaches. I know, but that's also Oktoberfest would be a bucket list cruise for people. That's another thing I haven't investigated yet is whether I can use a power chair on river cruises that I know I can't use scooters on because they don't have elevators. So yeah, I'd have to have some way I can pick the chair up like to put it in the back of my car, but whether I could put it, I could do something like stand up next to a boat and lift it over the rail so I can get on the boat, like for a whale watching excursion, for instance, so I could get on my scooter or have, a couple guys that would lift it over for me. So I could do a whale watching excursion from a boat on the power chair. Would be cool. I don't know how that would work with river cruises, although the American river cruises that at least have an elevator would, but then they have one handicap accessible cabin. So I don't. There's some other issues to work out on that one. I'm not there yet, folks. I'm still what's possible and what we may see happen. And it might be that I have a mixture. I use the chair for part of a cruise and use the scooter for part of a cruise. I don't know yet. I got it. Until I can have a chair on a cruise and see if that's as flexible for my use on the cruise ships. It may be that I need both, which is equally possible as long as Scoot Around continues to sponsor me as they are now. We'll see. I got to talk to Sylvia on Monday. Disney is just too expensive, and I imagine full of kids. That was the first thing I thought, Gretchen. Not so much on the cost, although I agree it's expensive. But what I found out from a lot of my friends that sail Disney and love Disney, you never see the kids. The kids they're doing their thing like all day, every day. So the adult only area on the Disney ships is lovely. And the people just really like the Disney ships and like some of the things that you can do on Disney ships. Again, I've not been on one, so I can't attest to it, but a lot of my friends keep urging me to try a Disney cruise at least once. So, and yeah, they find that the kids are not the issue that I thought the kids would always be. So now, I don't know about the expense on it. That's another thing. They tend to look expensive, but I haven't really gotten down to look at value, what you're getting for the money. I mean, that can also change things considerably. But prime example of how you can look at the money. Those of you know that I've had a few casino offers over time. Carnival kept sending me casino offers. And they would say in the offer, well, you'll get a free cabin, you'll get drinks while you're in the casino, and all you have to pay is your taxes, port charges, and a deposit. And I'm thinking, a deposit. So they charge you a $200 or $300 deposit plus the taxes and port charges. So I'm thinking, well, they're not giving you really a free cruise because they're charging that deposit. But what they don't make clear on it is they turn right around and give you that same amount in onboard credit. So yeah, you sign up for one of their casino offers, you have to pay taxes and port charges. Let's say if they're $189, taxes and port charges, and a $200 deposit. So you write a check for $389, you book a 7-night cruise, and you get $200 onboard credit that you can use for Wi-Fi or the drinks package or specialty dining or the things that you're going to spend on the cruise anyway. So I'm starting now to recognize the fact that I'm not looking at the value of deals as opposed to the total price of a deal. And you got to look at both. Okay. Disney cruise, we will get run over by the kids. Maybe he could wear a character costume, but which character? I would probably be Goofy. But no, you don't get run over by the kids. That's the whole point that I was making. Bubba Louie, do you remember that character? Of course I do. I mean, I was a big Disney guy growing up. I mean, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, Daisy Duck, all the ducks. I was also a Goofy guy. I like Goofy. Yes, I think he does carry a guitar. Yes. Not sure the Bear in the Jungle Book. The Bear in the Jungle Book. That was I don't remember that one, Hot Air. Gretchen says, good fit. Trivia, which part was the Mein Schiff picture? Which port? I have no idea. I recognize the statue and bridge. I'm guessing it was one of the German ports, but I don't know that. Dennis is with us, and he's throwing out something, and Chag Pisich Samich. I'm not sure what that means or how to say it, Dennis. Where's the ship picture, Tom? In Lisbon. Oh, that's in Lisbon. Okay. Let's go back to that. Let me see. I got to go back and look at it so I can see what he's talking about. Oh, the bridge. Okay. In Lisbon, Portugal. Wow, we just talked about Portugal today, so that's pretty cool as well. All right, so hot air time, you've got one on me there. What would really be cool would be a floating powered wheelchair like the one the Baron used in the original Dune movie that would go up the stairs. Yeah, right. Dennis says, I'm a Disney cruiser, and sometimes they're 95% adults. The kids are locked in the clubhouse and only allowed to leave for meals. All right, there's somebody else that is a Disney cruiser. There's no casino on Disney, but they have bingo with $5,000 and $10,000 cash prizes. I'm not much of a bingo guy. I played bingo a long time ago, as I was much younger, when I thought you had to gamble on everything, which I got away from that years ago. So I'm not much of a bingo guy. As a matter of fact, I haven't played bingo on a cruise ship since like maybe the early 80s. It's been a while since I've played bingo. There are value cruises on Disney on a per night basis, such as transatlantic and Panama Canal transits. Gretchen says, I could be persuaded to give it a try, but probably with one or both of my sons and their kids. Well, no, that's a whole different situation where you're doing a Disney cruise with the grandkids, and the kids can do their thing, and you get to go, play tiddlywinks or whatever. Okay, yeah, there's no casino, but they do have adult beverages. I might have one or two. Hog pay sock may sock. Happy Passover holiday. Thank you, Dennis. That's I didn't think about Passover as well. Obviously, I'm of the Christian persuasion, but yes, I totally agree. Happy Passover to you guys that celebrate that way. The Bear in the Jungle book was Baloo. That's right. I got my memories mixed. Baba Louie was Quick Draw's right hand. Oh, yeah. I like Quick Draw too. But yeah, Baloo was pretty cool. I liked him. Cindy Googled the info. Okay. Cindy bailed hot air timeout once again. And there's a lot included on a Disney cruise, including fizzy drinks. Gretchen says, man, what a memory, Tom. All right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for this week unless something major happens over the weekend. Again, just to remind everybody about tonight, feel free to join Justin and I at 7 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. And yes, we're talking specifically about a hosted solo cruise, but there's going to be a whole lot more in the talk this evening. So if you're interested in solo cruising or just regular folks cruising, I know on my Alaska cruise, we have solo and double occupancy in the group. So if you're just interested in hosted cruises on what that might mean to you on a cruise ship, come join us. You'll get some ideas what Justin and I are planning to do as we are co-hosting this cruise. Some people might make some suggestions on things they'd like to see. And we'll see if we can't incorporate that in our plans. And I'll do the same thing, a couple weeks before every hosted cruise I do. I'll do the same thing before the Alaska cruise in August. And the same thing if I do this other cruise that might have to do with Norwegian and a capital E, one of the capital E's. I'm not saying which one. In early December, that might just happen. So some of you might want to go on that too. We'll see. It's going to sail from Port Canaveral. I just thought I'd throw that out as another teaser. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for the day. However, I will be back if there's anything major going on in the world. This won't be like last weekend when I just shut everything down and stayed away. I will be on top of things this weekend throughout the holidays, and everybody have just a fabulous holiday weekend, however you celebrate it or worship it or whatever the case may be. It's going to be a great weekend for us all, I hope. And as always, guys, think about cruising. Stay safe. Stay healthy. And one day soon, we're all going to get together on the high seas. I guarantee on that one. Have a fabulous weekend. Hopefully you'll see us tonight. And if not, I'll see everybody back here on Monday. Thanks again, Kristy, for joining us. See y'all next time.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.